We begin here at 8 o'clock with a live look outside over Elitch's this morning. Beautiful start to the day in what should be a fairly busy day out at the amusement park and a fairly busy day outside as folks get out to enjoy their Father's Day weekend. Good morning, I'm Evan Krugel. Thanks so much for joining us. Let's get a check of your forecast with Weather Impact Team meteorologist Carly Cassidy. Carly, good morning. It's time to say goodbye to spring and hello to summer.
Yes, officially, we have meteorological summer, which started at the beginning of June, but astronomical summer, that starts tomorrow officially at 2:24 in the morning. So we'll be seeing that, but we've already been seeing those summertime and really feeling those summertime type temperatures, and that's going to be the case once again for today. Not bad of a start, 64 degrees. We have a little bit of that cloud cover kind of filtered with that sunshine, but don't let that fool you. The heat, that is still going to be coming this way. Winds, not too bad either, staying fairly calm. Those temperatures all the way across the state, fairly comfortable. We got 60s for a good portion, a few 50s here still in the high country, almost 80 in Grand Junction, already at 78. This afternoon, they're getting close to that triple-digit heat at 97. We have that triple-digit heat down here to the south, and then the 90s, some 70s, 80s in the high country. So wherever you are, wherever you're headed, definitely feeling that heat for today. Take care of yourself outside in it. Tomorrow for Father's Day will be a little bit cooler, but still feeling the warmth, the heat, and the first day of summer, the upper 80s, the low 90s, and then just that isolated storm chance. We have that isolated storm chance each afternoon going forward, so we'll time things out as far as that. Also the high fire danger and those warm to hot temperatures, all those details in my full forecast. Evan.
Sounds good, Carly. Thank you. Investigators now say a wildfire that destroyed an apartment complex in western Colorado was human-caused. The fire tore through a building in Rifle on June 10th. Investigators are now seeking help finding the person responsible. They say witnesses reported seeing a woman with soot on her face leaving the area around the time of the fire. They still don't know exactly what was used to start the fire. Determining the cause of fires is tricky work, and investigators in Larimer County know that all too well. This week, prosecutors announced they are dismissing the arson charge against the man originally accused of starting the Alexander Mountain fire. 9 News reporter Colton Chavez talked with a woman who used to investigate fires for a living.
You know, these cases they take forever.
For the Alexander Mountain fire, forever is starting to look a lot like nearly 2 years.
I mean, it's high integrity to say, look, we've now looked back at all this evidence, and it does not fit with our hypothesis that it was started by this person.
That person is Jason Hobby, a 51-year-old arrested in September of 2024, accused of starting the fire that destroyed more than 24 homes west of Loveland. This week, Larimer County prosecutors agreed the evidence didn't fit and filed the motion to dismiss the arson charge.
I don't disagree with them looking at him as a suspect because that I would as well.
Brenda Rice dedicated more than 15 years as a wildfire investigator with the U.S. Forest Service, though she had no involvement in this case.
It's very tedious. It's you spend a lot of time down on your hands and knees looking at black marks on burned things, literally with a little dental pick, looking for anything from a carbon particle to that match head.
Larimer County prosecutors say Hobby's alibi and cell phone data cleared him. They say he did drive a fake police SUV and bypassed road closures to pose as a wildland firefighter during the fire itself.
I've worked a number of them where the public outcry has been this one person, only to find out that no, they thought they've started it maybe.
She's seen wildfire cases drag on for 5 to 6 years.
But it's human nature, we want to know why, and so as an investigator.
After nearly 2 years, going back to square one doesn't mean the search is over.
I want to try and help answer that just to give a little bit of closure to the victims.
Hobby had already pleaded not guilty to the arson charge. He entered that same plea for all the other charges he still faces. Well, one of 3 people hit by a driver in downtown Denver last weekend is in critical condition. Last night, UC Health sent a statement on the behalf of the family of Isabella Gomez. They say Gomez was out with her girlfriend and another friend when they were all struck near 20th and Larimer. Officers say the driver, 56-year-old Cesario Serrato, ran a red light and appeared to be drunk. His license was also revoked. According to the family, Isabella was dragged underneath the car for more than half a block. Police have said officers and witnesses had to lift up the car to free her from underneath it. In their statement, the family wrote, quote, "We are especially grateful to the bystanders and first responders who rushed to help Isabella after the accident, as well as the medical teams caring for her." A former DU basketball player who killed a woman while driving drunk is returning to college basketball. Coben Porter is joining the MSU Roadrunners after serving 2 years of a 6-year sentence. Porter was released on parole June 11th, about a week before this decision was announced. But conversations about having him on the team started while he was still serving his sentence in a halfway house back in March. You may recall Porter was sentenced to 6 years in prison after he ran a red light while driving drunk and killed Kathy Rothman back in 2023. In a statement, Rothman's mother, Connie Johnson, said she's disappointed with the decision and said while Porter gets to return to his life and his sport, her family is left with the permanent loss of Kathy. In many cases, inmates are eligible for parole halfway through their sentence. That would have been in 2027 for Porter. But his family says he got out early because of his work with the state's Wildland Inmate Fire Team. Each day working on that program cut off a day from his sentence. 9 News legal analyst Scott Robinson explained the program itself requires inmates to meet certain standards.
Simply passing the physical requirements of the SWIFT fire team is not enough. You also have to be in good standing as an inmate. It's a strong indication of rehabilitation, which after all is one of the purposes of prison sentences.
Porter spent the final 6 months of his sentence in a halfway house and worked for the Gold Crown Foundation. During that time, he met with MSU Denver's athletic director and basketball coach as the school began reviewing whether he could join the program. In a statement, athletic director Todd Thurman says the school is not dismissing the harm Porter caused, but says this is a structured opportunity with the same academic, conduct, and team expectations as any other student athlete. Porter has 2 years of eligibility left for college basketball. His first season with MSU Denver is expected to start while he's still on parole. A Colorado Supreme Court ruling out of Telluride this week is raising new questions about a high-profile development project in Greeley. The Cascadia project would bring a hockey arena, water park, and hotel to the area. However, people in Greeley voted to repeal a zoning change, putting the project on pause back in February. This week, down in Telluride, the state's Supreme Court ruled in a similar case. They said people cannot vote to change a planned unit development agreement. They said that's because it's, quote, an administrative decision, not legislative. A planned unit development is a type of mixed-use space that can combine homes and businesses. We spoke to our legal expert about whether this could impact that vote up in Greeley.
People who support the Cascadia project now have a leg to stand on, but it's a pretty shaky one because this is a original zoning decision, not an amendment, such was in the case before the Supreme Court in the Kavanaugh versus Telluride decision.
Greeley says it's reviewing the ruling and the impact it'll have on the Cascadia project. They haven't made any decisions just yet. Well, a former state worker says she was being paid less than minimum wage because of where she physically went to work. Now she's suing. The state minimum wage is $15.16 an hour, but state law allows cities around the area to have a higher minimum wage. That includes Denver, where the minimum wage is $19.29. Jenny Tellis was an employee for the state's Department of Revenue. She says while she worked there, her office location moved from Lakewood to a state building in Denver. She claims when her office moved to Denver, the state never adjusted her wage. She now wants to be paid the difference.
I recognized after a month or two that our pay had not gone up. In fact, it decreased a little bit for Denver tax. If they're going to ask folks to drive out to work in this place and get taxed at city rates, then people should be making city rate money.
In addition to back pay, she's now asking a judge to make this a class action lawsuit for any other state worker who may have experienced the same thing. Broncos linebacker Jonathan Cooper faces charges related to an incident with his now estranged girlfriend. It's a case domestic violence advocates are following closely. Both Cooper and the woman were arrested after getting into an argument that turned into a physical struggle on June 4th. According to an arrest affidavit, the woman told police Cooper grabbed her by the neck, lifted her off the ground, and then threw her to the floor. But the affidavit went on to say the marks on her body did not appear consistent with that. Both were taken into custody on suspicion of misdemeanor criminal mischief. Days later, prosecutors filed new, more serious charges against Cooper after a nurse found the woman suffered serious bodily injury. Natasha Adler, the program director at the Rose Andom Center, weighed in on that.
You can lose consciousness if you're strangled, and there can be marks. There also cannot be marks. There can also be survivors or victims who do not lose who do not lose consciousness.
The DA's office dropped the charge against the woman. Cooper is due back in court next month.